Hey guys, what is up? AwesomeTheSauce here. Hope you guys are having a great day and welcome to an amazing new video. Today we're going to be talking about not new leaked spells, but two spells that are getting audited in the upcoming update. For those unfamiliar, an audit just means if there's a current version of a spell, the next version that we'll see is more balanced because for some reason or another, it was either underused or overused. I feel like there's a lot of spells that can fit under that category, but the two spells that we're covering today are Myth's King Artorias and Storm's Healing Current. So without further ado, let's get right into the two newest spell audits in the upcoming Lemuria update. This is gonna be the new King Art, and it's crazy different. And you know what, I'm gonna be honest, it makes a lot more sense than the current King Art. The current King Art is one of the wildest things ever, and this was actually I'm sure this was an oversight in terms of how good it would be in PvP. When it was first audited, people weren't even using it as much, but as time passed, this became the most used myth spell by a long shot at max PvP. But basically what it does, it removes a shield, and then it does a very small hit, which can remove every shield that's different, and then it adds overtime pressure for 3 rounds. It hits for 3 rounds, so you still can't shield for those rounds. To give you context, right? Let's say that you had 5 tower shields on, right? 5 tower shields. Literally, almost all the tower shields I happen to carry. This one King Art, not only would it completely remove all of those tower shields, it would also do a decent bit of damage and give you a Pierce Blade while you're at it. So this spell is essentially worth about 5 shields worth of shield removal, and that's if you use the same shield over and over again. If you use like a bunch of legend shields, along with the tower shields, it'll break even more stuff. Like 5 is a bare minimum normally with a spell like King Art. So the new spell, the new Myth King Art, is way different. It retains the Pierce, which I think is totally fine, because I mean literally Pierce is a myth spell, right? It totally makes sense. But instead of hitting and then having another overtime, now it's just one large overtime that detonates at the end of 3 turns. By the way, compared to the current King Art, this one actually does a lot more damage. It actually does about 100 more damage. If you were to enchant this, you're looking at still 1240 damage on a myth spell for 8 pips that can literally hit after removing a shield. It is still a very powerful hit. However, what won't happen with this hit is you absolutely will not be able to blade several times and then just do this into a Yaga and call it a day. Now, instead of 5 shields being countered by a spell, this shield really only counters maybe 1, maybe 2 shields. You pierce the shield and then you're threatening a big hit. So if your opponent keeps on shielding over and over again, you can remove them as they go. But really the key is it's much less shield removal, and therefore you're allowed much less setup. Right now, let's say you bladed 4 times and your opponent shielded 4 times, 1 King Art, and you're caught up with all those blades, right? It removes that many shields. You won't be able to do that anymore with the new version of King Art. Is this going to make Myth the weakest damn school ever? Absolutely not. I think what will still happen to an extent is that people will still do what they currently do, which is Mythic Fuel. They'll blade at least twice. They'll try to keep bubble control, and they'll go for the new King Art. But because you need to counter more shields, spells like Shatter are going to be very important. I think that a King Art combo into a Yaga that we currently see will almost by necessity include a Shatter as well. And what that means is that a King Art Yaga combo is going to be a full pip combo. Even a King Art Snake combo is going to require basically all of your pips. I'm glad that I don't know if y'all have seen the other myth utilities, but they're kind of insane. I actually haven't covered one of them, so I guess we'll put it on the screen just for you guys. Basically, it converts weaknesses into traps. So it's really good that King Art is less useful because the only viable counter when it can counter 5 shields is a weakness. So it's good that it's not so broken. Now, if you weakness, you might not just get destroyed by, you know, the new Myth utility into a King Art. So overall, there's a really good change. I mean, Myth still has tools to deal with shields. They absolutely don't even need the King Art. They can always Mystic. Not to mention the fact that they have hidden bubbles. They have minions that they can summon to break shields. They have a Minotaur. If you overshield to the point where, you know, you just have so many, you can literally just Earthquake and reset. Myth is just not one of those schools that has a lack of options. It's just not. So it is a good thing that they removed this and made it into something actually fun to use. I don't think it's going to be used as much, but I do think it's more balanced, and I'm looking forward to Myth PP with King Art. But that is not the only thing that got audited during this update. Let's move on to Healing Current. This is a new healing current, y'all, and I mean, what can I say, bro? It's so different than what we have right now that it's actually hard to believe. So healing current right now is one of the most butt-cheek spell ever made, ever cursed on mankind. This is just a useless ass spell. One, it's 3 pips, so you have to wait 2 rounds to use it. It's not like Wild Bolt where you could literally just spam it if you really needed to. And the other thing is, for 3 pips, it's only really ever worth the 1,000, and it's not like you might even need the full 1,000. That's what kind of bothered me about this spell. It's just the 100 and 400 are both just bad options. So like, you're never gonna really find a time where this is worth the pips. I don't know if y'all remember, but I've literally tried to make healing current work. Look at this. I have literally invested healing jewels into this strategy, and it never worked, and it bothered me so much. So the fact that they're remaking it, I don't know, maybe I'll try to use healing current, but this is a new version of the spell, and I think it's really, really cool. Now, what I really like about the spell is that they're staying true to Storm's identity, which is there's a layer of swinginess to Storm. A quick recap on examples of the swinginess. I mean, obviously, you have very obvious examples like Wild Bolt where the damage can swing crazily, but you also have spells like Storm Owl. I mean, look at that, bro. 150? I don't know how math works. 140 damage difference between low end and high end is quite a bit for a 10 pip spell. A 1330 hit that's enchanted versus a 1470 hit that's enchanted, it's not even in the same ballpark how different it is. Even spells like the new Insane Bolt, right? The idea that it can backfire, these all seem to be very intact in terms of what Storm's all about. But I will say this, I feel like we've had fewer examples of this because they've been auditing all of the spells. You know, like the old Insane Bolt was a much clearer example of how RNG swings can affect how Storm plays, compared to the current Insane Bolt anyway. But there is swinginess to this spell, and what it does is it's guaranteed to give you at least 3 rounds of heal, but it can give you 5 rounds of heal. You're also guaranteed 125 damage right off, 125 HP right off the bat. So you're looking at 125 times 4 for your minimum, which is, I want to say it's like 500, right? Which is already better, by the way, than the mid-tier of this. Already better. And you can also have up to 750 healing from this, and that's without a radical, that's without anything. So if you were, for example, to use something like a primordial on this, or even a radical, you can actually get up to 1,000 almost guaranteed. I mean, especially with healing and stuff. I'm not gonna say that Storm is gonna be out here spamming healing current in order to heal, but there is that element. You know, there might actually be something here. Much like the Myth King art, I find it very interesting that they're adding something like this for Storm during an update where multiple schools have anti-heal counters. For example, Death actually has things, they have whole ass utilities where they can transfer overtime heals into things like weaknesses, into things like infections, and into things like shield. So you're definitely not going to want to be using this against Death. I'm going to be honest, I feel like Storm is going to be ass against Death. I don't know why, but you can't blade for your Scion because they'll transfer your blades into weaknesses. You can't use a new healing spell because they're going to transfer the overtime heals into shields for themselves. So it's going to be a little tricky. We'll see. I mean, Storm has historically been very good because I feel like a high damage school against a drain school, it's just hard to drain a lot. But maybe this is the update where Death doesn't even need to drain a lot. They're going to have a lot of these weakness mechanics and all of that stuff to do a lot more damage than they used to do. But against every other school, I can totally see Storm healing, and I don't know, especially with low HP, it's a very interesting concept. Like, if you have low HP, 1,000 heal to you means a lot more than 1,000 heal to somebody else. I'm hoping that there are options for Storm and other schools to have pip conserve, because this is another example of a really good odd pip spell that's come out during this update that is only really going to be viable with a lot of pip conserve. I'm not saying that every gear set needs to get pip conserve or that pip conserve needs to come for free. I just think I would be very willing to give up even stats like pip chance, stats like, I don't know, heal boost on some pieces, block. I'd be willing to give up some stats like that for pip conserve all the time, all day, especially when it comes to all these utilities like the odd pip healing current. This is definitely a cool little audit. I didn't expect this at all in terms of leaks. I thought this was just gonna be a bunch of new spells. I knew that there was going to be a King Art update at some point. I believe that there will be a Mana Burn update at some point. These are just things that have been, you know, spread around on social media and stuff. I didn't even think or even consider that it would be this update, which is really awesome. Let me know what you guys think of the new Myth King Art, the new Healing Current. Are you planning on using any of them as a Myth and a Storm Wizard? And if you're not a Myth or a Storm Wizard, how do you think this is going to affect your matchup with them? Let me know your opinion in the comments. I will read every single comment. As always, my mans, drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a sub if you're new, and if there's somebody who was not told you're awesome today, they doing something wrong, so stay awesome. And yeah, yo.